Hi, I'm Chef Philip Dell, and I'm here to teach the next generation of chefs how to eat and cook healthier and incorporate these ways into their menus for people to enjoy all over the world. One of the first things that we always think about when we think about eating healthier is how much fat is good for us, and is all fat bad for us? Let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, let's talk about the good. Not all fat is bad for you. Good fats come from sources like olive oil, avocado, canola oil, and now they've discovered that coconut oil is really good for you because the body goes through it very fast. It means it doesn't hold on to it for energy. But wait, there's another one. Sesame oil is also good for you. High in monounsaturated fats. Good for unclogging your arteries. Then we have the bad. I know when you think of steak like this, you don't think bad, you think yummy, which you would be right. However, it contains more saturated fat and not the good kind. This saturated fat, this is the hard white fat that's on the outside of a steak. Then we have the ugly. It's not very ugly, and it's pretty tasty. Unfortunately, this is the one that's going to clog your arteries to no end. There's nothing healthy about this. Unfortunately, trans fats are the worst ones for you. Let's dig a little deeper into healthy cooking oils. First, we have canola oil. This was first introduced in the 1970s for home cooking and is made from seeds of the canola plant. It's got a plain or mild flavor. It's got a high smoke point of 400 degrees. It's commonly used for sauteing, baking, frying, and marinating. If you just add a couple tablespoons to a pan and add a quarter of a cup of popcorn kernels in a pot, you can have stove-top popcorn and it's nice and healthy. Next one is olive oil. This is a heart-healthy staple of the Mediterranean diet and is made from ripe olives. The flavor profile is fruity, tangy, bold. Light olive oil is mild. Smoke point of extra virgin olive oil is 400 degrees. Light is 450 degrees. It's commonly used for grilling, sauteing, roasting, spreads for breads, bases for Italian, Greek, and Spanish dishes. Drizzle a little bit of olive oil on all of your extra dishes as a little added tip at the top of everything that you eat. It's pretty good. Peanut oil. This is made from shelled peanuts and is popular in Asian dishes as well as Southern cooking. It's got a nutty yet mild flavor profile. Its smoke point is 450 degrees and is commonly used for stir frying, roasting, deep frying, and baking. If you add a little bit of peanut oil with your peanuts into a food processor, you can make homemade peanut butter. Yummy! Sesame oil. This is made from sesame seeds and is a staple in Chinese, Korean, and Indian cooking. Light sesame oil has a flavor profile of nutty. Dark sesame oil has a bold and heavy nutty flavor. Smoke point of light is 450 degrees, while dark is only 350 degrees. And that's because it's been roasted a little bit further. It's commonly used for stir frying, but only using the light for that. Use the dark for dressings and sauces. Whisk together dark sesame oil, rice vinegar, and scallions, and you have an instant dressing for rice and shrimp. Vegetable oil. This is usually made from a combination of corn, soybeans, or sunflower seeds, and is another great oil to have on hand because it can be used for so many different cooking techniques. Word of caution though, make sure that if you're using a vegetable oil, that the people eating the food are not allergic to soybeans. It has a plain and mild flavor. Its smoke point is 450 degrees, much like the rest of them. It's commonly used for sauteing, baking, frying, and marinating. If you use a cast iron skillet at any point, a small amount of vegetable oil works perfectly to keep it from rusting. When we talk about smoke point of an oil, we're referring to the temperature of which it breaks down and starts to smoke as it's cooking. As soon as you start to see the smoke happening, you want to make sure you are regulating your temperatures in an effort to not let it ignite. And that's the breakdown of healthy cooking oils. So now let's take a look at meat and poultry and let's see which one makes the healthy cut. Yeah! So let's talk about the different cuts of meat. Which one is good for you and which one isn't? We have chicken, representing the poultry side of things. We have pork. We have salmon, or seafood. and we have a steak representing red meat. Chicken is probably one of the biggest staples in the American diet. It's high in protein. If you consume too much, some might say that it's high in cholesterol, but that's when they're talking about chicken with the skin on it. So I always recommend that you use chicken that doesn't have the skin. When you're purchasing chicken, you want to make sure that it doesn't have added ingredients or enhancers. Anytime you read a label, if it says enhanced, it's been injected with a bunch of solution that generally will increase the amount of sodium that it contains. The next item we have is pork. Pork is misknown these days. People always think, oh, pork is very fattening and so on, but when they think of pork, they're subconsciously thinking about bacon. And bacon is typically cured, full of salt, and high in saturated fat. But there are other cuts of pork that are even better. Pork tenderloin, pork loin, anything that's higher up on the pig. Those contain a lot of protein, less cholesterol than chicken even. Don't remove pork from your diet completely. Enjoy it. Just don't overcook it. The next thing we have is fish. Fish is extremely good for you. It is very high in omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids. Those are all the fatty acids that help reduce the cholesterol in your body. They also, of course, help with production of energy and well-thinking. There's really not a whole lot bad you can say about fish. Then we have illustrious steak, red meat. Not all red meat is bad for you. In this case, we have a bone-in ribeye steak. Now, when you're looking at steaks, you want to try to find cuts that don't have a lot of hard white fat on them. That hard white fat is saturated fat, artery clogging. You want to look for cuts of meat that have less amounts of this. When you go to the store and you purchase steaks, you're looking for steaks that have the word loin in it, like tenderloin, or strip loin, or sirloin. Those steaks have less saturated fat in them and are actually quite tasty. The tougher the cut of meat, the more flavor you're gonna have in it, so you don't have to have all that fat. Now that we've learned so much about all these different types of fats, let's see how they impact the arteries in our heart and in our brain. What is cholesterol? Cholesterol is a type of fat found in your blood. Your liver makes cholesterol for your body. You can get cholesterol by eating foods that contain fat, such as meat, fish, eggs, butter, cheese, and whole milk. You need cholesterol to help your brain, skin, and other organs grow and do their jobs in the body. But remember, there are some fats that are good for you to help with this cholesterol, but having too much of the bad ones can cause problems. Think of blood vessels in your body like pipes in your house. If you have too much cholesterol in your body, it can collect in the blood vessel walls, causing these pipes to become narrower. This can clog the blood vessels and keep blood from moving freely throughout your body. You may not think about it, but what you eat today affects what happens to you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. Over the course of many years, if the clogging gets worse, it can cause a heart attack or stroke. Your doctor can find out what your cholesterol level is by taking a little of your blood and testing it. I think that if you eat well all the time, or most of the time, then you don't have to go to the doctor and get pricked by a needle. I don't know about you, but I don't like to do that. So just eat healthy. I'm going to show you how to make pollo guisado, a one-pot Dominican meal. First, we have to get all our mise en place together like we usually do. Cutting boards, something non-stick to keep it from moving. We need a stock pot, we need a cleaver, we need a regular knife, possibly to use as a utility knife, chef's knife, a can opener, always nice to have a side towel. You need to have your chicken, or your pollo in this case, diced, no salt tomatoes. You need carrots, a little raw sugar, peppers, potatoes, onions, lemon, garlic, chicken stock or chicken broth, olive oil, bay leaves, pepper, and cilantro. So the first thing we need to do is we need to dice up the chicken and we need to get it into the pot and get it caramelized. Ooh, looks a little dry. So it's always good to wear gloves when you're working with poultry. Helps with sanitation. So we just want to dice these up into bite-sized pieces. You could even cut them into strips if you want. So we're going to add some olive oil to the pan. We want the temperature of the oil to be just about at the smoke point. Preheat your pot and then add your chicken. And kind of looking for that sizzle. You can hear that going right now. And while this is cooking, we're going to add a little bit of that raw sugar or turbinado sugar. Not a lot, just a little bit. And what this is going to do is going to help balance out the flavors. It's also going to help add some caramelization to the chicken. What we're looking for here is we want the chicken to be nice and golden. We want it to be caramelized and look just absolutely beautiful. And at which point we'll then add all of our vegetables. I'm all about multitasking, so I'm going to go ahead and clean up my area, switch it over into the vegetables, and we'll get those prepped. Alright, so what we're doing here is I'm just going to cut up half of a couple different colors of peppers. I like to have a little nice color inside my dishes. And these can be diced, these can be sliced, anything you want to do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I call it, kind of call it half slice, where it's, you know, sort of like that. Put those into a bowl so I can transfer them easier to my pot of chicken. Speaking of which, I might want to give that a quick stir, just check on it, make sure it's doing all right. Okay, we need some onion. So I'm going to use, this is a sweet onion. You can use any kind of onion you like. If you have red onion laying around, you could use that if you want, or if you could pretty much use anything you want. We do what we call the top and tail. Take off the top, take off the tail, peel back one layer, put it in the trash. And since these are the same, we want these into little strips too, just like we did the peppers. Alright, we also need potato and carrots. And we've got garlic that we have to do too. So I've got some Yukon Gold potato. I've also got red potato. It doesn't really matter which one you use. Since I've got the yellow in here, I'll use that now. Just going to go ahead and I'm going to make these ones into smaller cubes. Makes it a little easier to for even cooking. I'm going to add the garlic after I start to caramelize these a little bit, and that's mainly because if you let garlic cook too long or too high of a heat, it'll burn and it will kind of give off a bitter taste. We've got one more thing. We've got carrot. I've actually got two different types of carrots here. I've got purple, I've got yellow, and I've got orange. And basically these are heirloom carrots. The nutritional value doesn't change a whole lot. It gives nice color and gives a little character to your food a little bit. Just love the character of different types of vegetables, and they're so good for you. Alright, so we've got our carrots, we've got our peppers, we've got our onion, and we've got our potato. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to add this to the caramelized chicken. Set that off to the side. I'm going to get my garlic ready. Take off some of this bulb here. Alright, so I'm just going to peel these a little bit. I'm going to take off the little end tips here where the root was. Put that to the side. Use the flat side of my knife, my palm up, and I'm going to hit it down. And this is going to be able to get it so that I can peel this back a whole lot easier. Also makes cutting it a whole lot easier as well because it's already halfway done. I'm going to add this to the pot. Caramelize these onions, these peppers, the potato, the carrots. Start to smell that. It smells absolutely amazing. Alright, I'm going to add some of my cilantro that I had earlier. This is dried cilantro. Any of your dried herbs they're 3 to 8 times more powerful than a fresh herb. So as those dried herbs moisten, the natural oils that come out of the leaves and the things like that, and it flavors your food just immensely. It's amazing. Add a little black pepper to it as well. I like black pepper. All right, so our onions and our peppers and chicken and everything are ready to go. I think we're just going to add our next ingredient now, which is the no salt added diced tomatoes. You could use fresh if you like. The great thing about using the canned stuff is it has a little extra juice, as well as the skins have been removed. Now, there's nothing wrong with having the skin. That is, of course, will add extra fiber and extra nutrients, but it's not necessary. So, and then we also have a bay leaf. I'm just going to add 1 bay leaf to the pot. Give this a quick stir. And we have one more ingredient to add, and that is chicken stock. You could use chicken broth or chicken stock. Try to find one that is lower in sodium. You could add as much or as little as you want. The longer that it cooks, the more everything will break down. If you notice that, hey, you know, I think it's getting a little too thick for me, I want to add a little extra more, then I can't. So that's entirely up to you. Remember, you're always the chef. You can always tweak a recipe as much or as little as you want. Just try to keep the fact that you're trying to keep it healthy in mind. All right, and we're also going to add just a little bit of lemon juice to it. This is something, I'm going to add a little bit now, and I may want to add more later. So I'm not going to add it all right now. I'm just going to leave this other half to the side for now, and I'll adjust as I want to go. All right, so now that we have everything added to the pot, we're going to go ahead and let that simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until let all of those flavors develop. And then we're going to taste it and enjoy it. It's pretty easy. This is a one-pot meal. This is even something you could put into a crock pot and get it and let it cook all day long while you're at school or at work. Oh, it's smelling so good. Pollo guisado. Let's get some. It might help if I have a ladle. Now I'm ready. Mom would be so proud. Just gonna do a little garnish, a little cilantro garnish. Check it out. One pot meal, pollo guisado. Peppers, onions, potatoes, tomatoes, vitamins, goodness. Yummy, yummy, yummy. You could always add some calcium to this too by adding a little bit of cotija cheese or feta cheese or something like that. Make sure it's fat-free or low-fat. It's low cost, low cholesterol, low sodium, but very high in taste. So let's recap. What did we learn today? We've learned all the healthy fats there are, which ones are good, which ones are bad, and which ones are really bad. We learned about the good cooking oils, which ones are healthy for you. We talked about which meats make the cut, and we made a really good one-pot meal, pollo guisado. I'm Chef Philip Dell, teaching the next generation of chefs how to eat and cook healthier and help others do the same.